Hey guys, Willie from No Bowl Piano, and in case you don't know who I am, I've taught thousands of students over the past 30 years. I've written over a dozen books on music, and I've toured around the globe, including the famed South by Southwest Festival. I created a video on why the circle of fifths is bullshit a few weeks ago, and today we're going to talk about part 2 of that. I'm going to give you what I think is a better tool. I'm not going to bother going through what we did in that first lesson, all right? I'll just summarize it real quickly for you, but there's a link below this video in which you could find that first lesson. I suggest you take a look at it. So in the first one, we talked about the circle of fifths and what it is, and I gave you these 6 reasons why it's a good tool. But I think that there is a better tool than the circle of fifths for all musicians to learn. Now, this isn't just pianists. This would be any musician, right? And that is, bingo, the major scale. So why is the major scale so important? And why is it a better tool than the circle of fifths? And I'm not saying that the circle of fifths doesn't have its benefits, but the reality is that the major scale is what most Western music is built off of. The major scale is so ingrained in Western music that we really want to utilize that for our practice tool. All right, so now what are some of the things that we can use? There are 4 things that I'm going to go through. So the first one is chords, and that's triads and 7th chords. The other one is progressions, diatonic harmony. Major scale is great for improvisation. I'm going to show you how about 75% of a song can be improvised over using just a major scale. And then finally, students are always like asking, like, "Whoa, what about modes? If I just learn my modes?" Yeah, guess what? Your modes are just another derivative of that major scale, along with other scales, like altered scales and whatnot. As soon as you know your major scale, it's a lot easier to learn all of these other scales and advanced harmony. Now, I can't go through all 4 of these today. Today, I'm going to focus on chords. But make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you get those other 3 lessons when they come out. And be sure to join me live when I release the lesson, because I'm also going to answer your questions via chat live. Or I'll be on for about a half an hour or so while the video is going on and afterwards to answer your questions. So be sure to ask your questions. All right, so first of all, when I talk about key, okay, I'm talking key and scale pretty much mean the same thing, okay? Now, you're always going to have, your technical know-it-alls. Well, technically, Willie. Yeah, you know what? We've talked about that in part 1, about rote learning and practical learning. I'm giving you practical stuff, right? So one thing that I try and do in my lessons is strip away all the bullshit that you don't need to know so that we can get to the meat, all right? Let's get to the stuff that you really need to know. So key and scale pretty much mean the same thing, and I also have to let you know that you'll notice also that the virtual keyboard here is like set to flats, all right? I have that done specifically because a lot of times, especially when dealing with jazz and moving into other keys, it moves from sharps to flats and it gets confusing. So don't look at the virtual keyboard up there as being enharmonically correct. It's just telling you what the note is, all right? The first step is we want to take that major scale and we want to just break it up into the first 5 notes. Some of this might be easy for you, but stick with me. You might find some of these chords you don't know, and I'm going to give you some other techniques in this lesson as well. All right, so the first 5 notes. So the first thing we do is just number those notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we are, key of C, C major scale, first 5 notes, 5-finger scale, all right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's scale degree 1, scale degree 2, 3, 4, and 5. It also corresponds to finger numbers in the right hand. Right, but don't get confused. We're not talking finger numbers. We're talking scale degrees. So now let me slow down a bit and talk about the 2 types of chords that we really have to know. Right? You have to master your triads and your 7th chords. You start with your triads first, and then you move on to your 7th chords. And basically a triad is a 3-note chord, and a 7th chord is a 4-note chord. Again, you're going to have your technical, people are like, well, wait a second. You know what? 3 notes, 4 notes. Let's cut through the bullshit and just talk about what it is. All right, so a triad is a 3-note chord. You'll see here that I have major, and it says 1, 3, 5. Well, what do you think that is? 1, 3, and 5 from the major 5-finger scale. That's why we did that 5-finger scale. All we needed was the first 5 notes in order to be able to create these triads. So there's your major one. Minor, we flat the 3rd. Diminished, we flat the third and we flat the fifth, okay? Don't get confused, you're not flatting it again, all right? So it's flat 3 and flat 5. And then augmented is 1, 3, and sharp 5. Just a little FYI, just make sure you know, like, this is not minor. You don't play major first, then go like that. You play 1, flat 3, and 5 at the same time. That is your minor triad. C major, C minor, C diminished, C augmented. Of course, we can move this on to other keys. So if I wanted to play like an A flat minor triad, so how would you figure that out? Well, you start by learning the first 5 notes of your A flat major scale. So you take 1, 3, and 5, there's A flat major, and 1 flat 3 and 5 is A flat minor. So there's A flat minor. Now your 7th chords adds on an extra note. So you see that for major 7th, it's 1, 3, 5, 7. Typically, finger-wise, I could play 1, 2, 3, and then 5. Sometimes some people find the 4th finger a little bit more comfortable, depending on the chord. I never do. I like it with my middle finger there. Sometimes people want to play the 4th finger up there. If that's comfortable to you, fine, okay? Typically, though, it's pinky. And also notice how I move deeper in the key bed when I change those chords, right? So you see major, I'm here. When I minor, see how I'm sliding further in. So my finger is not always in the same spot. Sometimes my finger is out here, sometimes it's there, right? So that's moving deeper or shallow in the key bed. Major 7th, there's minor 7th, 1 flat 3, 5 flat 7. Dominant 7th is 1, 3, 5 flat 7. Diminished 7th, 1 flat 3, flat 5, and we double flat the 7th, all right, which means we flat it and then flat it again. Right? Minor 7 flat 5 is 1 flat 3 flat 5 flat 7, and augmented 7th is 1 3 sharp 5 flat 7. Remember, virtual keyboard is set to flats. That would normally say G sharp. All right, so that's a lot, right? I mean, you got 4 triads over here, you got 6 7th chords over there, so I mean, you got 10 chords right there, and we're just in the key of C, and guess what? We also have inversions to boot on that. So the question is, where do I start? Well, first of all, like I said, subscribe, all right? These lessons are free. I'm going to give you practical information. I'm going to cut through the bull so you know exactly what it is you need to practice. So be sure to subscribe so that you get all of my videos, and also turn on notifications so that you know when a new video comes out, because then that way you can ask me those questions when I release the video live. I've created a program called Piano Essentials. And Piano Essentials goes through and teaches you all of these major scales so that you can own all of your scales and all of your keys. When I say own, what do I mean by that? I mean that you need to know the notes of your major scale inside and out. There's no way that you're going to be able to play your chords, your triads, your 7th chords, be able to improvise, be able to know your modes, be able to get to that next level in your playing unless you really own those keys and the major scale. So that means, like, bam, okay, E flat major scale, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, all right? The 3rd is G, the 9th is F, 13 is C, flat 13 is C flat, 5th is B flat, sharp 9 is F sharp, okay? So you know exactly how to get to those notes quickly. And the only way to do that is to have a plan. A goal without a plan is a dream. You need a plan in order to reach that goal. The first place to start is with those major and minor triads. You have to know how to be able to play your triads and move around in all of your inversions. So one of the things on Piano Essentials is we go through and I show you all of the inversions for your major and minor triads. Now, a great exercise that you can do, and this is great especially if you're an advanced player, is put on any old drum beat. I'm just going to put on a sample drum beat right here, and then go ahead and play, say, just major triads. Don't worry about moving to minor for right now, just major. And I'm going to move randomly, okay? So I'm not going to go through circle of fifths. I'm not going to go C, then G, then D, then A, then E, then B, all right? You can do that if you want to, but when you know what's coming next, then it's a lot easier for your brain to pre-process what you need to play. We want to randomize it so that you have to kind of think on your feet and think quickly. So you put on the drum beat, and then you say the name of the next key that you're going to go to. So I start with C, and then go to G, then go to A, G flat, E, B, D flat, A, F, G, C, G, 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 F, G, C, G All right, so now you notice what I did down here in the left hand? I was playing maybe just octaves or single note. The right hand, I was just playing the chord 2 times. And then what was I doing? I was also doing inversions. So I can move quickly in between these different chords and their different inversions. So if I'm on C and I want to go to F, rather than just picking up and going to F like that, going from C to F, that's not a good way of moving, right? That's what we would call bad voice leading, right? That's not good voice leading. Voice leading is how notes of a chord move to the notes of the next chord. So C to F, that's better voice leading, okay? C to F, and then maybe go into G, you could do that, or go down like that, and then go back to C. Right? And that's what we learn in this piano essentials. We learn these different chords and we learn different inversions. Isn't this just another chart? All right? Isn't like this whole like piano essentials thing just another chart? Let's take a look at it. You know, you see that you got the circle of fifths, you got your stats, like there's no sharps, no flats, you know, your relative keys, you got the scale, all of your fingering, right? You got your major, minor triads, other common triads. These are great triads to know, the sus4 and the sus2. All of this is explained in that piano essentials, what they mean and why they're formed and all of that. Your natural minor scale, your 1, 4, 5 chords, all of your 7th chords written out, and then also all of your tensions. This box over here is really cool as well. This is your 3, 5, 7 of 2, right? So 3, 5, 7 of 2, 2, 5, 1 progression. Right? And what's great is you could take these chords you were playing in the right hand, play them in the left hand, and those are your rootless chord voices. Right? You got your 2-5-1 progression in there. You got your 3-6-2-5-1 progression in there. You got a lot of things that are baked into that last box over here that is really interesting. No, this is not just another chart. What this is a roadmap. So again, if we take a look at this, you see how everything is separated out for us. Right? It makes it a lot easier to know, okay, this is where I am on the circle of fifths. Let me learn my stats. Let me learn the scale. I learn this line first. Then I move on to this. I learn this line. And then what you do is you do this in all 12 keys. Now, you might say, geez, all 12 keys. I mean, how long is this going to take me, Willie? I mean, I want to be able to do this in 3-4 days, right? I mean, come on. You know, this is what I tell my students. Practice ain't bull. If you're not willing to put in the time, if you want that quick fix, then you're not going to get there. And I want you to ask yourself a question, all right? So if you're thinking, oh, I want this quick, you know, why does he talk so much? Why does he just show me the notes? I get that one a lot, all right? And I'm always going to teach you. All right? So I'm not just going to show you notes because I want you to learn. That's the practical information. All right? So ask yourself this question. Why are you not further ahead in your piano playing? Right? If you've studied for years, taken lessons in the past, you know, you've been playing, why is it that you're not at that next level? And I bet you that you're not at that next level, not because you haven't tried, not because you haven't practiced, but because you probably just didn't have the right plan in place. You probably also didn't have the accountability there either, right? You had no one to be accountable to but yourself and maybe a teacher every couple of weeks or whatnot until finally that fell by the wayside and you said, forget it, I'm not going to do this anymore. And usually what students say, which is complete bull, is, I don't have enough time. Guess what? See this chart, right? You print it out. Guess what? Doesn't weigh very much. It's very, very simple to carry around with you. You want to know how I learned? I learned by doing all of this theory stuff in the car with my dad. He used to have these little index cards with modes and scales and chords and all of this stuff written on these index cards. Did it work? You bet your ass it worked. You want to know why I know it worked? So when I went to Berkeley, I tested out of the first 2 levels of music theory because of all the information that I learned on those cards before I even entered college. It doesn't take a lot of time. A little bit of time each day. 5 minutes a day. You print off the sheet, you take it with you, you pull it out whenever you have a second, and you practice it. That's how you get there. Again, practice ain't bull. If you want to get the resources that I talked about today, you can download them absolutely free of charge. Just go back to No Bull Piano. Be sure, again, to subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be coming out with new videos, and then This way, you'll know when I come out with new videos, and you can ask me those questions live when the video comes out, all right? So I'm going to be going through it. Like I said, like today was about chords. We're going to also be talking about progressions and diatonic harmony. That's coming up. Also going to be talking about improvisation and how to utilize that major scale for improvisation. And then we're also going to be talking about modes, other scales, and stuff like that. Thanks for sticking with me. I know the video is kind of long, all right? So leave your comments below. If you're joining me when I release the video, I'll answer live. If not, then I'll answer in a few days. I look forward to working with you, and I'll see you in the next video.